Hi there, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here in Severe Weather Now. It's Matt. I appreciate you checking out our page. Obviously, we're streaming here live as of Saturday, so if you're watching this any later than that, information probably still relevant, but we may be going live again to cover some of the severe weather that we have across the country. If you enjoy severe weather, if you like weather updates from a meteorologist, go ahead and hit subscribe. We just started our page, so we're a young breed, but we are continuing to grow, and we appreciate your support as we continue to do good things here at Severe Weather Now in terms of hopefully tracking weather and keeping you safe. So we've got really a two-pronged severe weather event. We've got today, this afternoon, and this evening, and then Sunday, your Easter Sunday. Unfortunately, things really going to ramp up across a good portion of the Tennessee and Mississippi Valley, and that is really our big concern as we're expecting not just a severe weather outbreak, but a tornado outbreak as a very strong storm system gets going across the plain states. So let's get to the latest on what we're seeing here. This readily available to everyone. This is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for severe weather as we go on into your Saturday afternoon and evening. You can see the majority of it targeting areas of Texas and southern Oklahoma. That's where we're expecting thunderstorms to really start to explode later today. This is all due to an area of low pressure that's heading out of the Four Corners region that will really start to ramp up. It's going to strengthen very quickly, and it's going to head northeast. And as it does so, we're expecting warm and humid air to be pulled out of the Gulf of Mexico, a dry line kicking into this as well, and that will explode thunderstorms across areas of Texas and Oklahoma as we go into the afternoon. You can see the enhanced risk that we have across the majority of central Texas heading into the San Antonio area. Dallas, you'll be in this as well, heads up to the north towards Oklahoma City. All of it going to be, in terms of severe weather threat, hail, damaging winds, and even some tornadoes with that. And again, this is our Saturday threat. So this is this afternoon and evening on the go forward. In terms of a tornado risk, we've got a pretty decent threat of tornadoes. Whenever you see 5% or higher in any given location, that's high on the scale of tornado threats. We've got decent amount of shear as well. In terms of wind, we are expecting some wind damage. That isn't going to be the primary threat. It's mainly hail and tornadoes that we're dealing with today. And there's your hail threat, a real good chance of not just some hail, but some large hail, perhaps baseball size or greater. San Antonio spreading over towards the Austin area, near Waco as well. Dallas, you're in that risk, and even over towards Houston, we're in that risk as well. And notice how that stretches north into Oklahoma City. So that's the threat later today as these storms develop. The storm system still getting going now as it's heading out of the Four Corners region and eventually the Texas area. All right, let's go to tomorrow. So this all spreads east tomorrow. This has been the widely talked about severe weather event tomorrow. This is from the Storm Prediction Center. Notice how we have upgraded there to a moderate risk from today's enhanced risk off to the west. So as the storm continues to come together, all the ingredients in play that could create perhaps as not just a severe thunderstorm outbreak, but a tornado outbreak across actually all of the Mississippi Valley and the Tennessee Valley. So we're talking Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama under that main threat. But I would not be surprised if this bumped a little bit further north to areas of Arkansas and areas of western Tennessee as we go through the afternoon. We may even have the rare high risk issued with the next update from the Storm Prediction Center. We'll see how that goes. Bottom line, I don't care if it's a high risk or not. This is a dangerous situation setting up for your Easter Sunday across a good portion of the southeastern half of the United States. The primary threat with this is going to be not just supercell thunderstorms capable of producing tornadoes, but we'll have hail, damaging winds, and flooding rainfall on top of that. Look at the tornado risk from the Storm Prediction Center. I totally agree with this given the setup. Lots of instability. There's a high amount of shear. There's plenty of moisture. And this storm system just has a huge punch to it in general. You can tell based on, after forecasting for years, you can tell based on the energy that these systems are coming in with. And we've certainly seen the energy with the system as it's crossing the Rockies. And it's really got some gusto to it. And adding to that is the jet stream that's going to be roaring through this thing. We've got a big old trough in the western U.S. that will kind of kickstart this system. So we're going to have a very strong jet stream up above here that these systems and these storms that develop will eventually be able to tap into. But this is your tornado risk, a 15% chance of a tornado anywhere there in the red. This includes long-lived, long-track tornadoes for areas of eastern Texas, almost all of Louisiana, Arkansas, southern Tennessee. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this bumped a little bit north there, and it still included areas down to the south. But Mississippi, Alabama, you're pretty much in that threat in its entirety. And this will eventually shift over towards areas like Nashville, eastern Tennessee, Georgia, and North Florida as we go through Sunday evening and Sunday overnight. So that's another scary aspect to this, is the fact that these storms are going to be tracking through areas of the deep south through Sunday night. And that's obviously when a lot of people are sleeping. So NOAA weather radios are going to be essential with this. In terms of wind damage, yeah, these are going to be wind damage producers as well. There's a lot of jet stream energy, as I mentioned, a very dynamic system. So all these storms will be capable of, outside of tornadoes, producing some very strong winds. And then your hail threat, there's our large hail core area that's expected from Oklahoma, East Texas over to Louisiana, stretching into the Birmingham area in Alabama. And then still a very high risk as you get into southern Tennessee and then over to Georgia and even up into Kentucky and areas of Missouri. We're going to see that risk as well. This entire system heading from the southwest to the northeast. So it's kind of ramp up towards the Ohio Valley. So that's the threat that we're dealing with tomorrow. Again, this is a 2-day severe weather event. We may even have some severe weather out in the plain or in the eastern half of the United States, including the mid-Atlantic, as we get into your Sunday night, Monday, and Monday afternoon as the storm system really ramps up. So that's what we're dealing with in terms of a threat. This is going to be a system to watch for sure, and things really start to ramp up a little bit later today. So let's add now, I want to show you another graphic that we have to kind of get a feeling as to where these storms are going to develop and what that radar might look like as we go forward through the next couple days. So it looks like the main threat here, what we're looking at, this is just a computer simulation of what it's expecting to look like, where the storms are expected to develop. So take it tongue-in-cheek in terms of where these storms are, but you can see, I'm going to start it over the course of today. You can see we're quiet today, all the action today out towards Texas. So keep an eye on what happens as this low pressure heads out into the plains. And I'm going to center it over the Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia region, just because that's where most of the activity is the next 2 days. But the storms will start to develop. You see them over here in eastern Texas this afternoon and evening with the prime heating of the day. As we mentioned, these are going to be hail-producing thunderstorms. Could see some damaging winds, but I think hail's the primary threat. And because they're supercellular in nature, and because we're starting to get that wind shear going, in addition to a dry line punching into this, we could see some tornadoes out of this as you get towards central and eastern Texas. And this stretches back to the San Antonio area. So Texas, you've got a threat here first, and then eventually this whole system starts to push east. So here we go. This is this afternoon and evening as of Saturday. Tonight, we've still got storms ongoing. Perhaps that activity in eastern Texas forms into more of a cluster of storms, heads up through the Little Rock area, even St. Louis, just south of town. We may be having some rumbles of thunder as all this begins to lift off to the north. And then we're going to watch for perhaps a squall line to develop from Dallas down towards the San Antonio area and race eastward. This would be your damaging wind threat with perhaps isolated tornadoes along that. And that's heading into the overnight hours tonight. This is tomorrow morning. Happy Easter Sunday, everybody. We might be awakened by a line of severe storms heading through areas of Louisiana. North of Baton Rouge, New Orleans, I think you'll be okay for this first round. It's the second round once this front really starts to punch in that you get going. But notice the convection that we have up towards areas of Tennessee, Memphis in the game for this. This will head up in areas of Kentucky as well. You can see some of these showers, thunderstorms we may have, even some out towards the Atlanta area. Birmingham may have some thunderstorms in the morning, and that's all as the warm air continues to lift off to the north, helping to trigger those storms. As we go into your Sunday, this is our important day. This is the way the models are saying it's going to shake out right now. You can see this is our line of Texas activity now heading through Alabama, Tennessee, and areas of Kentucky. This should be in a weakening phase, so that first round that you get doesn't look to be too bad. Could we have some isolated severe thunderstorms in there? Sure, but I think most of the energy is going to be back towards the west as things really destabilize from Louisiana, Arkansas, into areas of Texas. That's the area we're going to have to watch. So as we go throughout the afternoon, here goes our morning batch of precipitation. We are now into Sunday afternoon. This stuff, I don't think severe. I think it's heading into more less stable air. It's this area off to the west that we're going to have to watch. So depending on how things go with this morning convection, depending on what happens back in Texas in terms of a recovery of the atmosphere, which I think it'll recover just fine, that is going to initiate this line of showers and thunderstorms and numerous lines of showers and thunderstorms and clusters here off to the west sometime Sunday afternoon. Again, this model right now, we're looking at 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon now. So we're heading towards Sunday evening. But again, this is going to change on where these individual storms are. This is an idea of how it's going to unfold. But these are the ones to watch. We're going to have a tremendous amount of wind roaring above it. We're going to have wind shear, so a churning of wind with height. Plenty of instability likely, because I think this atmosphere recovers. And these are going to be the supercells we need to watch that may go severe very quickly. You can see the areas we're talking about, up towards Missouri even, areas of Oklahoma, Arkansas. You're right in the middle of it, and that's why I think this threat may shift northward, because this now involves western Tennessee, northern Mississippi, as we're still dealing with some leftover moisture here down to the south. But that's really going to be the time frame to watch, is tomorrow afternoon as these really ramp up. Look at this now. We're now into Sunday evening. This is after sunset now. We've got perhaps a line of severe showers and thunderstorms racing northeast through Memphis, areas near Paducah, Evansville now getting into it. And this will be along the warm front off here to the north, so we'll have to watch some of those storms. Warm fronts tend to end a little extra spin to it. And you can see the severe weather we have breaking out across Arkansas. Still keeping an eye on this activity in Alabama. This may unfold differently, but these will be storms to watch. But I think most of the action is off to the north as we go into your Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. But here it comes. Here comes our front. This is now Sunday night. Most people in bed right now. We've got a line of severe storms, perhaps with some embedded tornadoes stretching from Cincinnati down through the Louisville area. This stretches back down towards Nashville and Birmingham. We start to get another line of storms that kind of will take over, it looks like, as we get into areas of central and southeastern Alabama. As the Gulf starts to come into play in terms of feeding this moisture in, this may be our primary line as we go throughout the early morning hours as this continues to race northeast. It's windy outside of this. We'll have howling winds behind the system, a huge temperature drop on the backside of this as well, kind of feeding some of these storms. Meanwhile, it's warm and humid from Georgia, Florida, up towards South Carolina. And watch what happens as we go through. This is, again, while we're sleeping here, early Monday morning. Here we go as we go through the overnight, seeing a line of perhaps strong to severe, even tornadic thunderstorms racing eastward. These are going to be very fast movers with that jet stream. So now heading through areas of eastern Tennessee into western North Carolina. We're now bringing Atlanta into play, areas of western South Carolina that stretches down through Columbus, Georgia, Montgomery, and then eventually into the northern panhandle of Florida. And this is early Monday morning. This line continues to race east. Most of this is now in coastal New England up towards the mid-Atlantic. Still severe storms, likely producing severe weather, damaging winds, even some tornadoes still possible as we go into your Monday midday from North Carolina, South Carolina, down into eastern Georgia near Macon, heading over towards Savannah, and then eventually still kind of trailing back into the Florida panhandle. And then we lose our threat finally by Monday, late in the day, as this thing is now off the East Coast, and we have much colder air filling into the area. So that's kind of what we're looking at in terms of the severe weather here across the southeastern half of the United States in terms of a timeline with that. And again, that will change a little bit on the go forward. And the reason why is that we've got new model data coming in that will change things up in terms of exactly the timing and what we can expect in terms of the development of some of these showers and thunderstorms. So that's what we're looking at here over the next couple days. We've got, again, 48 hours to get through of severe weather across the country. And this is really going to target areas of Texas tonight. And then we're going to target areas of the Mississippi and Tennessee valleys. That encompasses many states as we go into your Sunday afternoon. This is your Easter Sunday afternoon and your Easter Sunday night into Monday morning. So a rough stretch of weather. We'll keep you updated right here on Severe Weather Now. We do live broadcasts as well to target some of those severe thunderstorms. We'll do some nowcasting, tell areas that need to be in their basement that you need to be in your basement, other areas that are in the clear. We will do that radar analysis, and we'll keep you updated right here. So we appreciate checking out our page. We'll be back here as we go forward over the next couple of days.